2, 1.
All right, guys, Peter and I talked, and we've been working on the new trades that you guys have been seeing the results in. And earlier today, he told me not to say anything, and then we just got off of a call and kind of changed all of that. But this is, you've been seeing these results, and I think these results are about 0.5% off, because this trade here was actually a 0.61, not a 0.06. So I think all of these might be a little bit on the light side. I think they were actually a little bit more. So I got to go through and do the math and check some of these others out. And a lot of these that are small were really set up in most of the cases would have done a lot more, but we've got them set up to get out fairly quickly, or so that we can take multiple trades and keep trading and try to get as much as we can out of the market. But one of the things that we're going to do, and I think everything's going to go fine for this, is I'm going to write up a special agreement for this algorithm. And because this algorithm is really new, and we haven't been able to test it in every market. I mean, we've tested it in a lot. We've had some markets go up and some markets go down. And so we've been testing quite a bit, but there's still markets that we haven't seen with this algorithm. So for everybody who wants to play with this algorithm, I think on Friday or Saturday, I'm going to release this to those that want to sign the agreement, understanding that this has not been tested in every scenario, and that that is the case, and that you guys can have it and play with it. So if you're interested in actually using the new algorithm, towards the end of this week, give me a 1 in the chat and see how many people might be interested in that. Yeah, kind of what I thought. Yeah. So, all right. So we'll get Brendan to. I've got to get a hold of him, and I want to get him to actually write that up. And he is on this call, so he just got notified. Well, where did he go? Oh, you moved him over to panelist. Okay. So yeah. So we'll get Brendan to write up a little agreement. We'll get everybody who wants to trade the new algorithm to sign that, and then we'll turn that over. Probably on Friday or Saturday, probably Saturday, so I could do a little lesson on it and make sure everybody's in tune with exactly what's going on. The other thing that we are working on, and you guys saw it in the back office, is the long-term trade, and that should be done also by this weekend, and we'll probably include that in this so that everybody who wants to learn to play with that, and I'll teach that this weekend. So really the concept behind the long-term trade is, let me do this real quick so I can give you guys just a little bit of an idea here. Okay, let's flatten all. Okay, and get this down. All right. Really, what we have in the market, and let's just look at some of the markets, and I'll explain the concept here, and so that you guys really understand what we're trying to do. Let me get this up here. Let me get up trade view. So if we just look at, start with XRP here. And let's go to full charts. And I want to go to, let's just go to daily here. Yeah, maybe 2 days would be easier to see it. If I look at XRP on this chart here, and let me get rid of this nonsense. Okay. We can see that the market when we divide up the market, if I were to look at this as a range here, and I'll take a screenshot of this here. What I'd like to do with the long-term hold is, and it can be traded in many different ways, but I'd like to look at the market in terms of ranges. And when we're in, if I were to divide this up, see if how close I got to being a third, not quite, okay? So we'll divide it just a little better. This will get it close enough for our example. Oops. I'd like to look at the market in terms of a third. If I can get this to copy and paste. Okay, not bad, pretty darn close. When I'm in the lower third or the lower half of this third or anywhere in this third potentially, you know, we can begin to look at the trade and what it looks like for a long-term hold, okay? And it's not to say that people won't do long-term holds up here. It's just not really wise, right? It's, you know, the market, when it starts hitting its tops, you don't want to get stuck at the top of the market, because this is, you know, this is a long period, and it could be a whole year or 2 years before we ever get back up to this kind of zone. So when I look at the zones, I like the lower zone for the long-term holds and or the lower half of this zone, which gives me room to actually really make the market move for me. And so if we go back over here to this, you know, if we're holding it down in this area, you know, we're seeing some, you know, really decent returns, right? 180% off of this bottom on a long-term hold. And that doesn't mean that, again, in the upper third, that there's not some 28 or 30% moves, or ultimately maybe even up into here where we're making 70% moves, okay? So what we're looking for in that long-term hold is to kind of be very smart about where we hold and why we hold, and we'll teach that, and we'll go over that more and more. And then once that long-term hold's in place, there'll be different algorithms. Ultimately, the first go-around, we'll have it set where you can set each trade for Digi to manage so that when it gets X% in profit, it'll automatically close that trade. But ultimately, it'll handle the whole block of coins in a different way. So like all of XRPs, it could look at XRP as a whole block. It could look at the lower third as a block, the upper middle third as a block. And so you could say when anything in the lower third, or when the whole lower third is up by 100% or 50% or whatever number you choose, then it would close out everything in that lower third. You could do the same thing maybe with the middle third. If it's up, you know, 30, 40, 50%, I want to close the lower third. Or you could select different levels that you're going to want to close each trade or each entry in that long-term trade. And so we're in a really unique place, I think, for a lot of the coins, and this is really why I began to think about doing this. And Jan suggested that Tony would love this idea, and this is something that I presented on one of the very, very first crypto calls we had. I talked about this market being really different because we're not trading leveraged like we do Forex, and we don't have holding fees. Like Forex has a holding fee that if you hold it over the weekend, so fees and the leverage becomes very prohibitive to do long-term holds. This market doesn't have that. So we can actually become owners of these coins where it makes sense and hold those coins as an owner of those coins for a long term and not worry as much about if it's negative or positive or whatever, so that we can actually go on and trade short term and trade long term. And so what I envision us doing is, if we are trading the hour chart and we get into a trade, we take that profit. And Brendan likes the idea where we'll have it set up where if you're in profit in a trade and you may want to bank part of that profit but leave part of the profit for long term, you could do that. So I could bank 50% or 90% and keep a percentage in my long term wallet to build up, because I believe that Tron or XRP, if I had the belief in that coin that it may go up significantly over the next year or two, I may want to begin to build that asset so that I have enough coins so if it does make a big move, that I'm situated in a way that I can take advantage of that. The other side of the long-term hold, if we ever begin to catch wind of a coin that may not make it, then we would need to become more active in, kind of deleting or getting rid of some of that asset so that we don't get caught holding a coin if it ever goes to zero. And there'll be some coins that will go to zero. But we need to, if we're having a long-term hold, we're going to need to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to make sure that that coin is going to ultimately do what we want it to do. So when we look at, again, all of these coins, and I'll go back here to today, we can see, like in quantum, beautiful place, if we believe in quantum, to begin to build some assets for a long-term hold, right? Because if quantum ever starts regaining, and if it catches traction, back up to just where it was before it broke down, we're at 700% or more, and that move back up. So holding and building long-term assets down in this area and into that middle range makes a lot of sense. Hang on one second. But again, all of this is your choice, right? You got to choose your trading and what you want to do. All we're going to do is build the tools to allow us to do that. So one of the other part of the long-term hold tool is that we believe that there's going to be coins coming out over the next couple years that are going to be extremely low value when they come out, right? But we want to put them into a system that allows us to manage those coins automatically, right? And so we'll create, in that long-term hold, we'll create a basket of coins that you can own, that you'll buy, and that'll be managed by Digi for you in that long-term hold. That's phase 2, but that's really the vision of where we're going with the long-term hold. So the other thing is there's a number of people that you want to set the bigger stops. And so the way that and I'll teach this weekend, the way that the long-term hold will actually work is if you're setting a 5 or 10% stop loss that some people are using, some even used a 15 this last week, you can set that stop at 10 or 15 or whatever you wanted, but you'll check the box long-term hold. And so when it hits that 10% or 15%, instead of stopping you out, it'll shift it into long-term hold, and it then will manage it from a long-term hold perspective. So there'll be two things that will happen then. One, it will manage the coin for a long-term hold position. But in Digi, we've talked about having a limit of amount that you could trade per account, right? So let's just say the limit is $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is, right? If you shift some coins into long-term hold, that will be deducted from the 5,000 or 10,000 so that it's not counted towards that $5,000 or $10,000 amount. So let's say you ultimately end up holding $500 or $1,000 in coins in long term, and some people may want to hold more than that. I don't know. But let's say you're trading a $10,000 account and you're holding 1,000 in long-term hold, then you would be able to put another 1,000 into your trading capital and trade that actively. So anything that's held in long-term hold will not affect the cap on the trading amount that Digi will trade for you, okay? So I'm working on that also. So those are really the big things where we're at. We're really got an algorithm that is working very well. We'll be adapting parts of that algorithm to the barrier trigger that you guys are trading now. And we'll be adapting some of the algorithm that we're trading to the box trigger so that we improve both of those. So my goal is here very shortly is to have 3 very, very good algorithms that are producing, and one that you see that I've been giving you guys the reports on is a very active algorithm. And we'll probably divide that up into 3 algorithms itself, where we'll have a very active algorithm that'll go in, strip money out, and be extremely active, right? Kind of like what it's doing now. Then we'll do a kind of a mid-range where it's a little less active, so it's trying to go for more profit per trade. And then we'll probably have a little bit of a longer-term, less active algorithm of that, so that it's going for a lot more profit. So, and you can choose, you know, you'll be able to choose when we get to that point of which of those algorithms you want to trade. But right now it'll be set up the way I'm trading it, and that's probably what we'll release this weekend once we get Brendan to write up a document for everybody and then get everybody to sign that, and a boss finishes a couple things this week on it, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. And so what that also means is that we're not far from opening up Digi to the new Kula members, and we need to begin to roll in all of the Digi members that aren't trading right now. So probably starting next week, we'll start bringing in, and we'll figure that out, whether it's blocks at 25 or blocks at 50, probably blocks at 25 every few days, and start bringing everybody on board. And then Digi will be ready for people to start upping their account amounts. And we'll start doing that probably this weekend. Also, we'll start upping the dollar amount that you can trade just a little bit at a time initially, so we can see how Binance handles that. But we will begin to roll that up a little bit also coming into this weekend or the first part of next week. So a lot of things going on here, guys, and I'm really pleased with you know, where we've come from and where we're at. And I think Digi's actually doing what Digi needs to do. So that's all the updates that I really have for everybody. So we're going to open up the new algorithm. We're going to start upping the count amounts. We're going to start bringing in the Digi members that aren't here yet. And eventually here real soon, we're going to start opening up Digi to new people. So with that, Deb, I'm going to take any questions that we might have. If I didn't lose Deb, I may have lost Deb because I went through very quickly. Let's see here. How many parent trades will we be able to set up with the new algorithm? We're still going to be fairly limited on the parent trades because we're still dealing with Binance, guys. So that's a Binance issue, not a Digi issue. So anytime we roll something out like that, I got to roll it out fairly gently, so that I can make sure that we don't mess up things at Binance. So I can't answer that exactly, but we will begin to test the waters, okay? So let's see here.
Sorry, Doug, I had to help a neighbor over our back fence.
Oh, you're fine, huh? Oh, that sounds
Gunnar had a birthday party. I'm sorry, he had a birthday party yesterday, and we discovered one of his best friends from school lives literally in the house up the hill right behind us.
Oh, wow.
So now they're doing the back and forth thing over the fences, which is really
how fun.
I know. All right. So are you into Q&A?
I am. I'm at the top one.
From Neil, how many parent trades will be?
Yeah, that one's done.
All right. Any news on that you can share about the new broker?
No, nothing on the new broker yet, guys. We're still going through that. You know, the only thing that I can tell you is that they are one of the top 2 crypto brokerages in the world, and they are the number 2 excuse me, futures broker in the world too. So ultimately, we would like to port over to the futures market also. But yeah, so they fit a lot of our needs and what we want.
I can see how that would choke you up.
It does, man. We can do maybe 10,000 traders in crypto. We could do hundreds of thousands of traders in the futures market.
Oh my gosh. Insane. Eric is asking, when will the last payment be due?
It's actually due when you come on to Digi and you start trading. So, or when we open it up for the rest of the people, whether you're trading it or not.
Awesome. Tony Hofer says, is there going to be a time limit to activate the 1-month licenses?
A time limit.
To activate.
No, not initially. No, we said no to that. So, yeah, you can, if you don't want to initiate the 1 month, when we first launch, you want to wait a month or so and see everything come to fruition. Yeah, you can do that.
Awesome. Tony Hall asks, how many open trades at one time? Hopefully more than 5, he says.
Again, that's Binance, guys. So we'll open up that gently and see if we start running into problems in with the IP addresses. So we'll just, and again, that we don't know that. The thing that we do know is one of the boss's former programmers that worked for a boss now works for a company that is one of the big programming companies for Binance. So we have a backdoor into maybe getting into Binance and meeting some of the Binance people that might help us. But right now we're still flying blind, right? We've solved the problem, but we still don't know where the ceiling is, right? We're jumping on a trampoline here and we don't know if we have a 4-foot ceiling or a 20-foot ceiling. We have no idea. We're flying completely blind, but we're doing our best to stay out of trouble.
And the good news is we know the lid is off.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Wendy and Jeff asked, will the 1-month people be able to start soon?
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to start them next week. I think I'll start rolling them in, those that are ready. So we'll start that probably next week.
All right. And Linda, we answered your question. Do I hear the baby?
Yeah. You hear the baby.
Aw. All right. Neil says, how far can... That's not even a question. He's being silly. Lou says, can we change our parent trades, get rid of the POE to one of the other coins, or what's the status of POE? Still have mine paused.
Yeah, POE has been working, guys. It just is, its volume is too sporadic for me. I don't like it. So yes, we will open up the other, you guys have been seeing some of the other coins that we're doing, right? So, but we need to do some work on those coins. We have not optimized those coins whatsoever. And that's why we're getting kind of mixed results even in the new trade algorithm, because we haven't optimized the base. So even though, this new algorithm is really the first kind of step towards the AI with Digi. That's why it's working so well. But there's still a base setting that we need to come up with for that AI to begin with. And some of those coins we haven't done that with.
Awesome. Marty is asking, when it's time to switch to the new algorithm, do we do that at will, or is it something that's manually or that automatically happens? No,
you'll have to choose it. Okay. Yeah, it'll be a trade algorithm. The box trigger will be a trade algorithm. I've got a COT algorithm we're working on. We got this algorithm that we're going to be releasing to you guys. There'll be multiple algorithms, and you'll have to choose which one you want to trade.
Awesome. Henry is asking, when will the back office and website be live for Digi?
As soon as we begin to roll it out to new members to purchase Digi, guys. So that's the thing. So we'll finish that up. We'll clear out all the test data, in it, and then it'll be clean slate. And then because anybody that purchases at that point will actually be generating affiliate commissions for those who referred them to Kula, right? So as soon as we begin to do that, the back office has to be complete, done, and ready for you guys to jump in there.
Awesome. Tony D. Hall says, if we move a trade to a long-term hold, does that move from our 5 open trade limit?
Yep.
Nice. That makes me happy.
Yep.
All right. Marty says, I meant, can we trade one and then switch to another, or have to stay with the initial one?
You can trade any combination or as many combinations as you want, and you know, as long as you stay within the trade limit right now. But eventually that will begin to open up, and you'll have more and more options there, so that you can trade multiple algorithms with multiple options. So
right. So I could have one TRX parent trade set up using one algorithm, Marty, and then have another one for Tron set up using the new algorithm, and then you have another algorithm with another parent trade. So that's really exciting. Yeah,
and if you're like Deb, you could have 15 of each.
Exactly. It's going to get crazy up in here. All right, let's see. Linda says, when can we buy more digis, please?
When can you buy more digi? More digi will be opened up probably within a few weeks. I don't know the exact week or date yet, guys, for the new people and for people to be able to buy additional digi licenses and stuff. So I don't know that yet. Peter and I have not come to a conclusion on that. We want to launch this algorithm, get people playing with it, trading it, make sure everything's going smooth there, and then that will accelerate that window when we open it up to other people.
Awesome. Marty wants to know, how did the meeting go Thursday night?
Went phenomenal. Yeah. And today's meeting went phenomenal. We had one today, of which I only caught the last part of it because I was on still with the boss, but it went absolutely phenomenal, and we're going to do some exciting things together, I think.
I'm not at liberty to say anything, but we did have Peter dancing down the stairs in Nashville after that meeting.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. He danced.
Yeah, I think he was happy.
It was great. All right, last question. Will there be a Digi song?
I don't know. You got to ask the musicians that.
I bet there will.
Yeah. I don't know if we go to Tommy, we might get a Digi Rock song. We go to Donovan, we might get a Digi Country. I don't know.
Right? A Digi song even.
Well, guys, I appreciate all your patience. You guys are an amazing group. I tell you, it's just been a pleasure working as hard as we're working to make this work for everybody, because you guys make it a joy. So, and I know poor Steve, he's been on his knees and his hands praying that I've released stuff, and it's been painful, but it's been a great growth and learning experience for him. And I know that's been a good thing. Right, Steve?
Steve Kinkle, yes, he has been in prayer mode for, and it's not even prayer, it's more, just begging and pleading mode to get the new algorithm out there.
Yeah, I feel for him.
Greatest lesson in the world on patience.
Yeah. But this is the real world, guys. I mean, you guys are actually seeing this as much as we go through to make this real, right? And that, you could just slap stuff at the market and have, all kinds of crazy outcomes, but, we don't want that. So it's really tough to teach a computer to see what you see. And then when does it apply and when doesn't it not apply, and how do you stay out of the bad things, as much as you can and not miss the good things. And it's not a job for the faint of heart. That is absolutely for sure. So Mr. Brendan, you got anything to say, buddy?
Sorry, I wasn't muted when the baby was making noise.
Oh no, we enjoyed it.
Other than that, we're just I'm excited as everybody else, right? We're just seeing one good thing after another.
Yeah. How's she going to be a trader if she's muted?
She does watch. She likes to watch the charts. Sometimes it calms her down, but
unlike when it does to Marty.
It doesn't have that effect on very many people.
That's it. That's right. You gotta get them started young so they don't get overreactive. But no, we're just excited. This is everybody else. We just gotta keep taking the next step, right? And each step we're a little bit closer to something better, right?
Yep, absolutely. So all is good. So Brendan and I will get together tomorrow on the letter that we need everybody to sign, and then we'll get that going so we can take care of Mr. Yanni Cash there and not inundate him with too much paperwork, and we'll get all of it dialed in. So.
Awesome.
All right.
Real quick, and Udo, thank you so much for putting this in here. A quick reminder to not ever, 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 ever post. You shouldn't be posting anything about DigieBot right now.
Yep.
We don't have any marketing materials for you to use. All of your marketing stuff is going to come from corporate. If you have something you put together that's amazing, send it to us and let us review it before you ever post it, please.
Yeah, and don't post wins. He's absolutely right.
Ever.
That's guys, as much as I love everybody on this call and in Kula and everything, that is one thing that I would have to let you go from Digi if that was happening, and I don't want to do that. That is just, there is a no gray area there. If you're posting your wins and you're marketing that out there like that, it's just, it'll shut down for everybody, and I can't have that. So.
And remember, Digi's going to be transparent, so people will have a place that you'll have a place that you can send people to see what the actual trades look like, real-time trades. So just look for that. Yeah.
You could maybe, you just can't do it. It's just the biggest no-no in what we're doing, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I hope everybody understands, and I really mean it from my heart. It would just crush me to have to do that to anybody, because I want this gift for everybody. So please don't do that. Don't put us in that situation, because it means so much to us.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment on that, Doug. And I know it's been a little while since we talked about it, but we're going to have specific training materials and specific information on how to market this and where it's appropriate and what's appropriate to say and what's not appropriate to say. We're going to do all that, and we're going to support the whole marketing effort. We want everybody to, have a good opportunity for that aspect of Digi as well. And just like Kula, right? I mean, everything, you guys have all the support you need for marketing, and we're going to do the same thing with Digi. So just with this, we just have to be equally, if not more, careful, because it's such a anything that involves financial markets, right, have higher restrictions or more stringent restrictions and a higher level of eyes looking at it, and we just don't want anybody to get in trouble. I mean, Doug and I know people who've gotten in the other markets, have gotten in like serious trouble, like going to jail. For stuff that you may not even, you wouldn't even realize if you were ignorant to it, that you could go to jail for that. So you gotta be really careful. We don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah, and I think it's still our intention, and I think Miss Lynn Faulkner is still planning on coming on board. So when she does that, she'll help with all that training too. So I think we'll all be good there, and we're very, very close to getting that all going for everybody. So, all right. Any other questions? I'm going to say good night if not. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time. And right around the corner, folks, we're really knocking on the door finally. So it's all good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. You're amazing. Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
You guys have a great night. See everybody tomorrow.